What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, yeah, you guessed it, happy Friday. We're here today for another episode of the Inner Sea region, a 5-minute tour. Today we're going to continue cutting down Garoon's eastern coast in the War of the Wizards that takes place there. Last week we talked about the good guy. Next, we're going to skip the ugly, that is the Mana Wastes, for next week. Today, we're talking about the bad. We're going to Geb. As always, this channel is supported by patronage, and patronage is the #1 way to help Black Dragon Gaming do bigger, better, more awesome things. If that's something you'd like to see happen in the future, the link to our Patreon is in the description. Today, this episode of the Inner Sea region, a 5-minute tour, was brought to you in part by Josh King. Josh, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Now let's get to it. The Kingdom of Geb began as a colony of ancient Osirion and takes its name from the exiled Osiriani necromancer Geb, who became the land's ruler. Until the coming of the Archmage Nex, Geb was a reasonably peaceful nation. When Nex pushed his expansion southward into the nation of Geb, it ignited the most infamous magical rivalry in Galerion's history. During one of the most deadly exchanges of spell power, the necromancer Geb sucked the life from most of the land surrounding the cities of neighboring Nex by the use of wishes. In return, Nex blighted the land of Geb with a series of cataclysms that decimated the population. Geb responded by animating his casualties into legions of the walking dead, which began Geb's reliance on the undead. Fun fact, in ancient Egyptian mythology, Geb was the Egyptian god of the earth, and he was the one who allowed the crops to grow. In Pathfinder, this is the guy that caused the mana wastes. This is the guy who caused the crops to not grow, with the use of powerful magic. After another attack in 576 AR, Nex disappeared completely. To date, no trace has been found of him. Geb was so distraught that he didn't get to vanquish his centuries-old rival that he committed ritual suicide in 632 AR. Geb's rage, disappointment, and necromantic connections led him to returning as a ghost, doomed to continue an undead existence until he can be sure of his old rival's fate. With its ruler now an immortal ghost, and much of the populace animated as skeletons and zombies, the land of Geb became known as a land of undead, much to the dismay of neighboring and not-so-neighboring nations. The land was forced to fight off countless raids and naval attacks. The raid with the most long-lasting implications was carried out by the Knights of Ozum, seeking to add to their glory following the conclusion of the Shining Crusade. Their attack failed, and Geb was so incensed that people from so far away would choose to launch an unprovoked attack on his kingdom that he animated 6 of the fallen knights as Grave Knights. He ordered his new undead minions to travel to Last Wall in order to retrieve the corpse of Aranzi, the revered former herald of the god Eredin, as well as the knight's patroness. They succeeded, and Geb animated her as a lich. Today, Aranzi rules beside Geb as his harlot queen and has been turned against her former knights. Like we said before, the majority of the inhabitants of Geb are undead, and living creatures sometimes willingly accept transformation into undead as a mark of fealty to their ruler. The only living creatures with any significant influence over the affairs of the nation are Geb's powerful necromancers. Their ability to create and control undead gives them a highly specialized influence over the functioning of local society. Over the millennia, Geb has become one of, if not the preeminent center for the study of necromancy, and is widely believed to hold Galerion's most comprehensive collection of necromantic lore. Gebite society is, in general, divided into 3 castes. The living, who are set apart from thralls, intelligent undead, and living thralls bred as food and mindless undead. Known as the quick, the dead, and the chattel, respectively, the quick and the dead are treated equally, while the chattel have no rights. Relations between the quick and the dead are regulated by the dead laws, which are designed to ensure that the rights and security of both groups are protected. Anyone who dies on Gebite soil is reanimated as a mindless undead creature to serve the state in eternal bondage. Those with sufficient clout or wealth generally circumvent this procedure and willingly transform themselves into intelligent undead, either through dark magics or simply by letting themselves be killed by ghouls, vampires, or other creatures with the ability to create such progeny. This act is seen as a great service to the state, although it does create a large population of lesser intelligent undead who see themselves as vastly superior to their unintelligent brethren who really lack any true power. Geb's lush climate, combined with warm winds from the Obari Ocean, creates lush grassland, which allows crops to prosper. The fields are mainly worked by mindless undead, and foodstuffs are Geb's major export. With relatively few living citizens to feed, they're traded with Nex in return for rare components and luxury goods. So like we said last week with Nex, Nex is the place where your almighty super powerful spellcasters, think Gandalf, Dumbledore, Saruman before he went crazy, set up their bases and spread their magical knowledge throughout the world. Geb is basically the same thing, just on the evil side of it. Think Saruman after he went crazy, or something like Lord Voldemort. And that's something I can get behind because good characters forever and ever, in my opinion at least, are super boring, and evil characters need a place to call home as well. Geb serves that purpose wonderfully. But I think I've talked about Geb enough. Have you guys ever adventured here before? Have you made a Gebite necromancer? Or maybe decided to kill off a party of low-level adventurers who just crossed a little too far south of the Mana Wastes? If so, throw it in the comments below. We'll keep the conversation going. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of the Inner Sea region of 5 Minute Tour drops next Friday.